Welcome back, everybody, to our Twitch Calgary live stream of Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and or the Dragons. We're going to jump back into our storyline in a minute, but first we have to give a few thank yous to some of the folks that are helping us put this on. Mr. Renlin, can you take it away, please?
All right. Yeah, this would not have been possible without some of our amazing sponsors. We're going to talk about a few of those right now. The first being D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond is the ultimate D&D digital tool set for running your character sheets, your campaigns, dealing with monsters, spells, all of it in one simplistic format that, as I'm doing right now, I'm running for my game. They offer a plethora of anything you can think of, from digital dice to the stuff that they've given us today, which is access to everything. So one of the first things that we're going to be giving away to the highest bid or sponsor is a digital bundle known as the Legendary Bundle. The Legendary Bundle is a collection of everything in D&D Beyond. This is a $1,000 Canadian valued bundle that we'll be giving away. They've also given us 3 adventure bundles to give away at a $500 value each. So those will be given off raffle to everyone that donates to the stream. If anyone wants to check out D&D Beyond for their own campaign, or even just to learn and get into D&D if you've never played before, go to dndbeyond.com. Our next sponsor of today's event is Metal Galaxy. Metal Galaxy is an amazing game store in Calgary, Alberta. They donated to our players today dice bags, and plenty of other gifts for us to use. They are your premier spot in Calgary for Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dungeons and Dragons, board games, and Pokemon. So we'd love to give a huge shout out to Metal Galaxy and the owner Pascal for sponsoring our stream today.
And the food's pretty good too.
And the food is pretty good actually there. That's a good point. They do have a bistro there as well, so if you're hungry when you're playing Pokemon or something, they got you covered. Another one of today's sponsors is SideQuests 5e. They're a... Oh my gosh, I lost my words there. SideQuests 5e is a module, a D&D module... Oh my gosh. Hold on here. Here's my friend. He'll understand. D&D 5e creates well-crafted 5e modules and one-shots for beginners and seasoned adventurers alike. If you head to Etsy and go find D&D and search SideQuests 5e and use the code TWITCHCGY for Twitch Calgary and get 30% off all of your module and map needs for D&D.
Cool. Sorry, that was...
Just write that down.
SideQuests 5e on Etsy. Etsy.ca/SideQuests 5e.
And also a huge shout out to Tabletop Audio, who was gracious enough to allow us to massage your ear holes. Yeah, I'll stick with that. Massage your ear holes with some ambient badassery. And yeah, you can find them online at tabletopaudio.com. All of their stuff is free to use. It's all within Roll20, just built in there. We use it in our home games all the time. And there's a Patreon there to kick some money towards the creator. He does amazing stuff, and it's worth checking out and throwing him a couple of bucks if you can. So as we jump back into our game, you guys, having rescued Princess Minerva from the clutches of one of the dread lieutenants of the big bad evil guy, a heartfelt moment as you rescued a scared, starved girl from a box. Tonk takes her in his arms, and you start working your way home, back to the hills. And that Sentry's Rest is coming in handy because probably not let it go. And it's a couple of days, and mostly uneventful. She doesn't speak much as she's coming home, aside from weeping, sobbing. She's been captive for a number of years and kept in a box, mistreated horribly. And it's going to take time, like everything does. And aside from one seemingly strange event, while you were stepping with Gunter and Lambo had stepped away to find some provisions for camp one night in a similar spot where you'd camped prior, and everyone heard this loud sound, and you come in the distance and you see Special Agent Lambo, and he's holding this fish by the head, and the tail is just whacking him back and forth and back and forth face over and over and over again. Until he's like, fine, I didn't want to eat you anyway. He throws it back into the pond, and Gunter comes back with a bunch more really, really stupid grouse on a single arrow, and he's like, what was all this about? That doesn't... And Lambo's just like slick with fish along his lamb chops. His lamb chops. And he's like, read chicken, and he walks away from the back to camp. Riboyo, that was for you. As you return to the hills, the hidden compound of the remnants of the kingdom, about a month passes as you let the princess recover, get back to a semblance of conversation being okay. It's going to take time, but Tonk, she asks for you one night in and calls you to the chambers. It's her former father's chambers. Still her father, just deceased. And you go in and it's been rearranged a little bit. The bed's cleaned up. The bromides are still there, front and center. And it's been made livable again. And she says, I recognized your voice. You got pretty big.
Tonk was rebuilt.
That's a pretty handy thing. You just take your broken bits and throw them away.
Tonk is unaware.
Yeah. That might be nice.
Tonk will look into it.
She just kind of gives a little bit of a chuckle, and I'd appreciate that.
Princess need anything?
Funny you should mention that. I have an idea, and I ran it past Mr. Vostok.
Tonk just like flops onto the ground, crosses his legs, and goes.
And noticeably does not bump a camera.
I paid my dues. You were all welcome.
And she sits down comfortably on the floor beside you. When you rescued her, she was thin, and she has been working to try and repair that. In the past month, mostly at the insistence of all of the matronly folks around her, she has never been seen without a sandwich in her hand. And if there's no sandwich in her hand, somebody's making sandwiches. Like, yeah. It's almost like an accessory to her at this point. As a robot, she chuckles and comments on it. And she's like, maybe if we were replacing broken bits, we could replace my hand with a sandwich maker that just goes, whoosh, sandwiches. She's retained her sense of humor. And she says, I brought this up with Mr. Vostok, and he doesn't think it's a good idea. But our people are suffering, and we need an act of strength to inspire them. And she kind of gestures to her kind of emaciated form at this point and says, I'm not there yet. So I want you to go get someone for me.
Anyone.
They weren't a friend of our families, but they're powerful. And from what I understand, they might have a reason to help us. From what our intelligence has passed on, this individual is being held captive in a swamp to the south of here, known as the Swamps of Despair. There's a coven of witches that has captured this individual. And I believe that if we can retrieve them, they'll be essential in in what comes next in our efforts. And she just like bows into a sandwich. As Tonk makes mental notes.
Little hard drive light flickering in the.
Does he like move his finger when he's like, okay, and do the thing, and do the thing, and do the thing?
So it's more of a like, he just blanks and stares. He writes whatever
Blue
it is he's being
screens.
told.
The eyes blue screen.
Just hear the click of a hard drive in the background.
Dial a modem. Screaming.
Her name is Zenderfane.
Because I wouldn't write that note. I'm not here to learn this.
And I believe releasing her from her captivity and her own personal motivations will put us at an advantage for what's to come. Will you do this for me, Tonk?
Anything, princess.
Tonk, roll an insight check.
It's 'cause you're in jail. That is going to be a 20, not natural. 20.
You've been around the princess for a couple of years when you were a head on a skateboard, essentially, while they were finishing sculpting your form. And the times that half the time was spent with her getting into shenanigans, and the other half was getting taught how to lead, and making decisions and making people do the things that she needs to do. And you recognize, just at the back of your mind, like, the princess needs a thing, I need to do the thing. Oh, she's doing the thing where she tells people what to do because they don't have a choice in that. And it's not a malicious thing by any stretch, but you see that, you recognize that from your connection with her. And it's just a thing in the back of your head. She's being a leader.
Tonk will stand up, approach her, and gently touch her chin. Go, Tonk proud.
She gives it's almost a flinch when you touch her, and then she kind of catches herself and realizes that it's Tonk. And she just kind of smiles a little bit and goes back to furiously eating. A little while later, as Tonk makes the preparations that Tonk would do, whatever those may be, how does Tonk approach this?
Tonk is going to return to the first chamber we're at, gather the tables back together.
Mm-hmm.
Tonk is also a little unsure of size, so there's far more chairs than are necessary at this table. So whereas this table would have the 6 of us, there's about 10 chairs that are haphazardly crammed around the table. Chairs. Gathers a few bits of information, things that he might have, a very crude collection of children's toys that have been left around throughout the space, and he's gathered them into what almost resembles a map of the terrain that he has, and then stares at it for a moment.
Legos.
Yeah.
Legos. Salt shaker. An actual tree.
Just considers what has been. The tree is just into the table.
Yeah.
Considers it, goes, Tonk need friends. And on to go
Yeah.
find our party.
In his own way, Tonk brings a spattering of people together. Lambo and Gunter are elsewhere. And as you find Vostok and start getting people together, he thinks to himself for a moment and he's like, all right, we're doing this. And he goes to get some folks that you haven't necessarily seen before. And gathered around, you've got Gwen, you've got Renlin, you've got Vistra. See, I got the name right this time.
I believe it.
And 2 folks that you've seen around the hills. One is, what do they see?
Well, hunched before you guys, you see this gaunt, kind of dwarfy guy that goes by the name of Zobo the Frown.
The frown.
Zobo the Frown.
His features are streaked with well-worn clown makeup from his past jobs, and it kind of obscures any indication of any youth from him. Although he doesn't seem to be old, he definitely is not young. His jester uniform hangs off his body like a tux from somebody who went to prom in like 2008, and now and they just tried it on again. And on his side, you see a little satchel of colorful balloons that kind of shine a little weird. And clutched in his dirty hands is this aggressive-looking kazoo with an odd-looking horn on the top that seems to be something very special to him. And he always has his hand sort of in his vest, holding it right here. And next to it is a shiv.
I like it. Give it a little blow.
You want to hear it?
Oh, yeah.
We're good.
I love it. Spellcasting focus, amongst other things.
Love it.
That is an instrument of the bards for the people playing at home, reskinned.
I like that you made it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Similar to what we did with Lambo's character, Julie is playing a simplified NPC character sheet following the Wizards of the Coast new rules on like their abilities now and stuff. But yeah, and aside from Zobo the Frown, there's a matronly looking woman that approaches just at Vostok's shoulder and like pulls out a chair and puts her down.
And it is Grandma Ginny. So, not a lot of people know this, but in her former life, she was quite the thief, quite the rogue. They were kind of surprised to see her walking around with her frying pan and her rolling pin, but off of her hip, she's got this shiny rapier. And she's just super spry. Like, you know, when they're like, oh, that's really way up tall, I'll get it for you. She just parkours up there, grabs the flower. Like, oh, I can do this. Yeah, so, you know, she kind of arrived in the area with family, very upset family, because the grandchildren have been lost. So she's very motivated. She wants to find her grandchildren. And if this person, this Zender fan, can help, she's all in. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Vostok, again, he's got that kind of slouched and tired sort of appearance. And the luster from his horns, being a tiefling, have gone out a long time ago, and he says, so the princess wants you to do a rescue in the swamp. Lambo's busy, so I figured somebody with a good amount of experience on subterfuge and, well, a plethora of other things might be a worthy companion. And Mr. Zobo stumbled in yesterday and insisted on being put to work. And from what I understand, there are witches in the swamp. And Mr. Zobo has demonstrated an ability to turn magic the fuck off. So we're going to be able to leverage that, hopefully, a little bit.
As we're gathering and talking about what we're going to be doing, I'd like to know if I know anything about this Zenderfane person that...
Roll a history check. Just history. Not stone cutting history.
7. Nope.
Doesn't ring a bell.
That one's not going to play anymore.
So we are all putting Jackson to jail.
Okay, great, let's go.
Now you will.
Glenn, you can roll it too.
Okay.
Because of your former position, it would make sense.
Oh, well, that's not fantastic, but it's 15.
You remember conversations with your father, Iriladar, the Brown Staff. Now past. But past in peace times, not in the fall. Had mentioned that name at some point as a figure that was in contention to the king. And you don't recall directly what came of it. Maybe you were quite a bit younger, but it was like a name that somebody said with a curse under their breath kind of deal.
Why didn't she have us going after this individual? I mean, they were not looked too kindly upon.
So, in my travels, would I
Roll me a history. Just
roll your history?
see if there's anything that comes to mind.
Intelligence.
All right, intelligence, cool. Come on now. Yeah, nope.
No. You know, must have been the times when you were bounced back home that this sort of thing came up.
Yeah.
So,
So maybe.
Mr. Tonk, would you like to explain to them what your plan is?
I'm gonna apologize. I'm gonna block the camera again already, so I'll pay you guys your $5.
You're actually pretty good.
No, perfect.
Yes. You're good.
You're fine.
You're only blocking grandma. Not only, you know what I mean? not the whole side.
Yeah.
We hear
Yeah.
swamp.
We go from
Bravo,
there to
Tom.
there.
Bravo, that's fantastic planning.
Great.
I kind of peek up as you walk back, and with my usual motion, I kind of put my hand on your shoulder. I'm like, I think what Tonk is trying to say is, if it was not obvious, we travel to the swamp and we do our thing, but I think there should be a few more steps in between. I think we should be a bit of scouting, a bit of interaction with, if there's any locals, the locals, but I think we should not just stop. I know that's hard for you, but...
Were the swamps part of the empire or the kingdom previously?
Tertiary.
Tertiary?
So, like it's more. It was there and it was technically part of the realm, but nobody really went there,
Okay.
aside from people that needed to gather. Vistra would be aware that while it wasn't a part of your life then. Several people were known to go into the swamp to find herbs, remedies, mushrooms, that sort of thing to do herbalism.
The swamps can be dangerous, but fruitful. As long as we keep an eye out and are mindful.
There
of
are
what we
weird creatures and monsters there. There's a reason that a coven of witches lives there.
Would I know anything about these witches?
With the information that Tonk's been provided, not necessarily yet. Yeah. However, as you ask at the table, because communicating out of character, it still happens in character in some manner or another. Vostok says, for the most part, it's 3 sisters. They keep to themselves. We haven't had any bad dealings with them or anything like that, but they're crazy. So that's why we don't go there, because they're crazy.
So there's an added risk of, say, stirring the pot?
They don't have any reason to come here, I guess. But, I mean, as long as maybe talk to them. They might turn you into a frog or a newt. Maybe you'll get better. I don't know. I don't know if that happens or not. And he wiggles his fingers, and he looks at you immediately, and he's like, I'm sorry, that was probably very rude. Magic.
I've never heard such blasphemy in my life.
But he says, as long as we don't go near them, they don't harm us. So we don't do that. It's like bears. Bears are fine. Leave them alone.
Pet bear.
So I can help. I can help you if you want to pet a bear. I can help want you to pet the bear if we find a bear.
Why don't we focus on the witches first and
could-
petting bears second?
What about if we pet the bear and then the bear pets the witches?
Sure, if we find a bear along the way.
Okay. Just saying.
Are these the normal plans you all make?
You know, their methods are unorthodox, but they can't argue with the results.
I gotta ask, are they single?
The witches?
No, there's three.
Yeah.
Well, there's. I can safely say that our intelligence community has not been able to provide their marital status. However, given that there are three sisters living in a hut in a swamp in the middle of nowhere, that places that people don't go, probably a safe bet.
Are they sisters or best friends?
I've heard they're sisters, but I mean, who knows?
Either way, I got away with ladies. I got a difficult relationship status as well. I guess we can make something work.
Zabo's relationship status is just balloon animals.
If you're good enough with balloons, they can be whatever you want.
I'm a big fan of balloons.
Would you like to demonstrate?
Sure. So out of my little pocket, I pull like 2 balloons. And I'm like, 1 second, guys. And there's like this misshapen, lady-like figure that's just a little asymmetrical in all spots. And I'm like, 1 second, I get like a little magic marker and I draw a little face on it. And I'm like, this is like my ex-wife, okay?
And it pops in his hand, and it's a carved brass or bronze bust that is in the likeness that they wanted.
Of my ex-wife. Oh,
I'm sorry, did you just turn balloons into...
It's a party trick.
thanks. Just like the party she left me.
So sorry, not to...
Here.
I'm sorry for your loss here, but I'm very curious. Are you able to do this with, like, anything?
I mean, I guess if you ask me politely, and don't make me do it of things that bring bad memories, then sure. Yeah, I guess.
You're
And
willing to do bad memories?
is it always brass that he turns from?
When Mr. Zabo arrived a few days ago, he made a balloon raccoon and threw it at somebody, and they have bites and burns and like all sorts of ailments on them now. It made a raccoon that ran away.
I was like, you should talk with Tonk. We have someone who might need use for that with sandwiches.
Y'all
Make a sandwich out of balloons? If somebody
you
can make
find-
sandwiches out of balloon animal sandwiches, I need that in my life.
Like a sub
Yeah.
sandwich?
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
a big
With
fat,
individual
like,
layers
yeah.
of colored balloons.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That
Yeah.
is the thing.
Guess I could make that happen. We'll see though. We'll see what I can get in return for that, you know.
What's a little known fact about Zabo the Frown?
Well, the reason why he's so grumpy is he used to be a jester in the court before everything turned to crap. And the night before that, he woke up the next morning to an empty home. His wife was gone. Subsequently, so was the mailman. And there were holes in all of the walls because she took all of the copper wiring out of his home. He can't
That's the most sad thing ever.
He's been eating cold food in a cold home ever since.
Oh.
And that's why his wife gave him the name Bozo the Clown, thinking that that was not something that somebody had heard of before. So from then on, he decided to call himself Zobo the Frown.
I see. That is heart-wrenching. And everybody cries. Grandma Ginny,
Ooh.
what's your take on all of this?
What's my take on all of this? Well, I like the simple plan. I go from here to there, get what we want, and come back.
Well, if anybody was going to do it, I suppose it might as well be you folks. Anybody else we send's probably going to get hurt, so... if you need anything to make preparations before you go, please let me know. And otherwise, it is the princess's command. So this is what we're going to do. He seems more than a little wary that they're trusting the operation to an 18-year-old kid. That this seems rash to him. But the whole plan was to get her back so she could lead and inspire people. But it just has some logistical issues that go along with it.
Compared to a month ago, Vistra looks much less like pent up than she was, having one small piece of her prior life returned her, a very important piece returned. And she looks at him and goes, "We follow her orders. The kingdom thrives.
We absolutely follow her orders, no questions asked.
We will be mindful, but she needs to learn if she's to lead the kingdom."
Indeed. With that, the night is yours. Make your preparations. It seems you have a good plan in order. And he kind of side glances at the sapling that Tonk planted through a table. And he's like, "That is a tree on the way." And it's like way bigger. It overshadows everything. It's like, that's a city. This is just a tree. Although the concept of size is off. Your time is yours. If you need anything, please reach out to me. I'll do whatever I can. And he bids himself, bids a goodbye and steps out, leaves you at the table. Do you want to discuss anything further amongst yourselves or make your preparations?
Well, I have to bake a batch of cookies if we're going on a trip.
That makes sense.
Cookies for Princess.
Okay, I'll bake a batch for her too.
And really, it's thump, thump,
You're doing the dough.
And as the quiet settles in, and the echoing from the halls ceases, as everybody settles down and beds in, you take your time. Melva, you come back to Vistra. You come back, and your Dragonborn companion has finished one more that you can throw onto your sheet. I realize it's been a month,
Yeah.
but
No,
12-hour session.
there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Most of them are getting divvied out to military things as well. So
Yeah.
Chonk's actually gonna go find Vostok.
he's got a small alcove that he normally works at with like a bureau, like a folding bureau desk, and he's sitting there scribbling some things, and you look at it and it looks like math. Yes, Mr. Tonk.
Like honk tonk.
Only when he's got a duck or a goose. He's a honky tonk.
Oh no! So there's no limit to what you can make, right?
Mr. Vostok,
Yes.
where Tonk before Tonk?
Where were you? Where physically, like located, or like before you were online? Before you could see out of your eyes?
No, Tonk broken. Where
You
broken?
some of the more enlightened folks, they found you. You weren't complete yet for your current form. They were working on it when the kingdom fell, and recovered your body, and of course your head, your main tonk, the top tonk. And then we put the top tonk with the badonk tonk, and then the rest of the tonk. And it took some doing to get you back to consciousness. But you were away. You were unavailable. Just physically almost asleep.
Bits Tonk destroyed.
Some parts of you were damaged and needed to be repaired, yes.
Princess wants broken Tonk parts.
Oh, I'm sure we could find some of your accoutrement here or there. Can be provided to her for study, I imagine. And he leans back for a second, and he takes in the conversation with Elmo he's having. And he says, did the princess want broken parts being fixed?
No. Princess want before Tonk.
I think I understand. I'll see what I can do.
Mister.
Rest takes you, and in the morning, you make your way and start off to the south. On the road, there's a reasonably followed footpath that goes along down to the Swamps of Despair. The air is thick as you get through. There's a set of gnarled trees and occasionally rodents of unusually large size just dotting around. And Tonk might think to themselves, I wouldn't want one of those on my shoulder. Only without the eyes, I suppose. The trees are gnarled, and it looks like it's fighting against nature. Like something is impacting this area and making it more overgrown, more inhospitable, more just like fetid and terrible. Renlin, you recognize this. Something is artificially bolstering this place. Plant growth. The plants are healthy, but blighted. Just like, it doesn't look, there's no beauty here. Even for one with a scope of what that means as yourself. Like, this place is made of pain. The plants are forced to grow too fast and against their will, whereas in your method of doing so, you would bolster and coax something to grow. Mm-hmm. Here they've been forced to do so, and much like a human with growing pains, it's the same sort of scenario. Okay. It does not feel pleasant.
Can I go to the ground? And I kind of move towards the plants that are in front of me. I kind of get really close and I go, I might be foreign to you, but if you can feel me, I want to see if I can give you some sort of peaceful life, at least temporarily. And I'm going to cast Druidcraft, and I'm going to try and see if I can make one of those flowers blossom properly.
You hear the cracking of rotten wood, right? And you see some of the heartwood come out, just like the fat wood in the center. And sap slowly starts to ooze, and it's doing its best. And you get like a single bud that comes up that has a natural green look to it. Mm-hmm. It seems effective. Okay. It's doing its best.
So it's working, but it's struggling.
Yeah. The plant itself, it's growing, and it looks like it has something that will flower. It takes a lot of energy to push through that. It's trying, but
I'm gonna kind of turn back to people and go, there is what I guess you would call sort of a necrotic feeling around here. It will not do well for organic life. Tonky will probably be fine. But I would be very careful, everybody, about the ground and any water you come across.
Is anybody proficient in survival?
I am.
Please roll a survival check. Renlin, you can do it too, as this is more... If you had a favored terrain, anything high in nature would probably be it.
13.
14?
17.
17. Renlin, you take time to earth and to tune into the place and get a feel for what's around you. There's the trees, obviously, that makes passing hard. Things are unnaturally thorny, which makes it difficult to progress in some areas. And as you guys are working your way in the rough direction that you were provided, you hear calling out. It sounds like a horse whinnying.
Okay.
And then it shifts to a language. Somebody's asking for help.
And
You
we
hear
all
like
hear this?
the snicker like that come from behind it.
Okay. I'm gonna speak up real quick and go, just a warning. Remember the last time we saw something calling out for help? It ended up being very gooey and not so good time. So please be careful and do not, fall prey to the cries right away.
I promise I won't get too close to it this time.
Thank you.
Zavo, you start noticing something off in the distance. This isn't going to mean anything to you specifically, but there are these creatures called flumps that are basically floating cloud marshmallows with little think flying spaghetti monster.
Okay.
And there's you keep catching them out of the corner of your eye, like floating out here and there and everywhere. Nobody else sees this, and they look strangely like balloon animals because weird donations from the chat. Thanks, Laurier.
Hey, you guys know if those floating things are from a carnival nearby, or if I can, they're edible maybe?
Can we see them now?
Look up.
You can't.
Sweet?
I'm going to look at you and say,
I'm not gonna lie, guys. That I tried something from one of those trees earlier.
The world is interesting.
I was going to. No, that makes sense. Never mind. I kind of looked at Tonk and I go, be wary.
Tom Carey?
No. Be
Yeah, shoot
wary.
me up.
Oh.
Throw me up there. I want to catch
Tom
one of
Carey.
them.
Yes. So I'm sorry, but what exactly are you seeing?
It's like, you see the fluffy things up there?
You see a spattering of clouds up in the sky.
They got little dribbles.
Yes, I do know what clouds are. That they're in the sky.
These got spaghetti on them.
And one of them turns and it's like,
Y'all, I think I'm making friends.
Can I roll perception on this? Can I roll see if I see
medicine.
anything?
Medicine.
Medicine?
Yeah, roll me medicine.
Okay, we're gonna roll you a
Based on
medicine.
what Zobo said, Zobo ate something that they found on the ground in a swamp called the
just-
Swamp
okay.
of Despair,
I need
and
to-
is hallucinating.
Okay.
Really
Alright,
bad.
It's funny. I've been dice trying to keep rolling on the table, so I'm gonna
Whatever.
use yes. For a natural 1.
Natural. You know what? Based on the things that you know, they'll probably be fine. They're probably not going to die.
I'm just like, as I look at you and I'm just like kind of poking around and I go, you said it was like a sap?
It was kind of sticky. It kind of tasted. It smelled sweet.
Oh, you're
Tasted
fine.
a
You're
little
fine. If it is sweet on a bird like this, you are totally fine.
As the medicine person of the hills, Mister is just watching this happen
I'm
and
just like
going,
grabbing
That is your
flowers.
shtick, actually.
yeah, and like it's just watching you poke at her and going, this is not medically sound.
Roll a medicine check, Vistra. You're fairly confident that
18 plus 8 is a 26.
perfect. You're fairly confident that Zobo ingested what's known as melisap.
Okay.
Melisap is a hallucinogen that Gwen might have based her entire attire off of because she's the LSD witch in the party.
Does she require an antitoxin?
Probably not.
All right.
Fantasy
Give it some time. You're gonna need a sandwich later and a lot of water. So
You can practice your balloon skills later. Just the floating noodle monsters, they're not going to bother you.
And even
They
with
don't
my-
like that.
So this conversation is happening as you're kind of like walking through the swamp slowly,
does not know
and
how to
Gwen's
respond.
just kind of like,
When Renlin was talking about, don't touch things, Gwen pushes her broom up a little higher, so like a full 5 feet off the ground.
Zobo, as you guys are watching, you're kind of explaining, like, yeah, no, see, it's spaghetti. You see the top half of a unicorn sticking out of a pit of quicksand. And it turns its head to look at you and it says, "Help me, please. Please help me. Please." And it kind of moves back. And as Zobo's freaking out a little bit, you turn the corner and you see this too. And the unicorn's like, "Please help me. I'm stuck and I can't get out." It's been a while.
That one's fun. Yeah.
Horsey.
And it starts moving and it works its way down into the quicksand a little bit. And you see footprints like buried deep into the mud right out front, where it looks like somebody like child size was trying to pull this unicorn out of the quicksand and failing miserably.
Do the footprints keep going, or
The footprints that like dig in, you see other ones that are like ancient that just like.
Okay. So no, that makes sense. Okay.
And I just like start booking it full force towards that thing, being like, I gotta get him. I gotta get him.
Stop zooming.
No, she's gone.
How fast are you?
Zobo's a dwarf.
I'm just as fast because
All right.
I'm a monk
Yeah.
and a dwarf.
Yeah, it's about 10 feet or so on the entire circumference of this like brightly colored rainbow maned unicorn that is just like dirty and filthy, and like the top half of its chest is still sticking up. You can't see legs or back or anything. And it's just like whipping its head around like violently, and it's like, "Please help me. I've been here for 2 weeks, and every time I move, I get closer to death."
Don't we all?
I'm going to kind of speak out to it. Oh no! I'm gonna look very concerned towards you, and then kind of turn towards this unicorn, and I'm gonna go, "Sorry. Usually I cannot hear animals unless I'm speaking directly to them. Are you always a unicorn?"
Yes, he's speaking calm
Yeah,
at this point. I should also point out,
I just want to make sure if it's not like a human that's been transformed into a unicorn, because normally I can't just casually listen to animals. I'm specifically doing a thing.
he's like, I would advise you that I'm not technically an animal. I am a magical creature of sorts.
I got mine. You guys can take those.
That is your threshold donation for when we passed $1,000.
Okay.
We are at 1770. At 2,000, you'll all get the benefit of long rest.
Okay,
So
nice.
basically another token that you can burn.
300. Or less.
Yeah.
Do this.
Less than
200. 270? I don't remember.
230.
230? I didn't remember what number you said was.
All right.
We're now at 1820.
At 2:30.
That's amazing. Amazing. We
You
have
understood the assignment. Thank you.
a periactive proof against poison. So you're immune to poison condition and have immunity to poison damage.
Just in time for Zombo.
A stone of controlling earth elementals. So you can summon an earth elemental as if you had cast conjure elemental. Yep. Can be used once a day. Or a sword of wounding. Hit points lost to this weapon's damage can be regained only through a short or long rest rather than by regeneration, magic, or any other means. Once per turn, you can, if you hit a target, you can wound them. They will take necrotic damage, you can make a con save, etc., etc.
That sounds like a very good tonk.
That sounds like a tonky weapon.
Yeah, it
to me.
does.
Tanky tonk.
Requires attunement.
I don't think I'm attuned to anything.
While they're figuring that out, Zobo, as they're like looking at this unicorn, you're freaking out.
I'm freaking too.
You ever see the movie Zootopia?
Yeah.
All right, you know Nick Wilde, the fox?
I do know Nick
with the
Wilde,
towel?
the fox, the hot
Or with
one,
towel?
yeah.
He's like Jason Bateman, and he's like, hey, how you doing? And he like pulls at your fingers a little bit, and he's like, you know what I want? I want you to make me a balloon lamb.
I'm like, anything for you, sir. And I pull out the balloons and I start like freakily. 1 second, this is gonna take a second.
I think she could use a cookie.
I think she could use a
And I'm
lot
like,
of
pull it
cookies.
I think
together.
we just had too many cookies.
I'm like pulling it together. I'm like shakily. I have this like, it's like made out of a bunch of little tiny bubbly balloons, but they're all just like some are deflated and some aren't. And I'm just holding it up to the sky. And you're like,
And you have a baby lamb in your hands, and he's like, "Thank you." And as it hits the ground, you guys see Zabo just like off to the side, like made a lamb and
Yeah.
put it on the ground, and it looks up, it's like, "Meh," and starts taking off, and he's riding it astride, and he's like, "Thank you. This is exactly what I needed for dinner." And he like takes off. Sorry, Jason Bateman. Chat.
No, that's cool.
Oh my god.
I'm here for it.
What would you guys like to take of those?
We're taking the sword of wounding.
Sword of wounding. Cool. It is a sword of wounding. It is whatever kind of sword you want it to be.
So it can look like his hammer, but be a sword.
Sure. It can be a hammer of wounding. I'm okay with that.
Hammer of wounding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would that just then be the same damage?
I think on that, there's no damage boost. It just has that extra effect.
Yeah, 1d4 necrotic per time I hit them until they make a DC 15 Constitution save.
Yep.
I think it has to be on their turn
Yeah,
too.
just remind me of that when you hit them. So, unicorns in front of you, like, you are people. Can you help me?
How are we gonna get this thing out of here?
Pull out some rope.
Yeah, I got rope. Yeah.
Yeah. You're probably reasonably good at the whole
Yeah, sure.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I can lasso that and just. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm on a broom. I could just fly over the quicksand.
Okay. I was thinking, if we get leverage over a tree branch and just kind of haul up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to fly it up
Zabo
over
might
that
have something
big
in
branch
the
up there? That
kazoo
one
that
should
could help too.
seems reasonably strong enough. Could you fly it up and loop it over for us?
I'm sure I can do that. Yeah.
All right.
maybe I could help with a little song of levitation or something. We start him pushing it up from the bottom
yeah.
there.
I was gonna say she has a broom, but no, for the horse.
Yeah.
The horse.
Pull the horse
unicorn.
All right.
Yeah.
So what does it sound like when you use your instrument of the bards and levitate a unicorn?
And then just that over and over.
And you know what? That's DC 3.
That's amazing.
I love it. And you see, what color is Zabo's magic?
What color is it?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's like this weird kind of oozy green.
Like loogies like slide out of the end of this kazoo and just like work their way around the unicorn, and it's like, maybe I was okay, maybe this is fine, maybe. Oh god, it's touching me, and you see it slowly start to like pull its way out of the sand.
I'm like, everybody clap along.
This unicorn happens to be under 500 pounds for the sake of it. It's pretty thin. It's been in the quicksand a while. And you, like, with your lasso, you manage to, like, pull its levitating form over, and it just kind of, like, shakes, and it's like, I've been sinking for weeks. I'm gonna kill that kid.
What child? What kid?
So there was this kid, and he had a weird amulet on, and he rode me into the swamp, and he was looking for something, and he had a dog that was a dragon, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll help you out. And then I fell into some quicksand, and he's just like, well, I guess you're gonna die now, and then he just left me there. Like, it's just not okay, in the grand scheme of things, to, like, care for your companions better. So, you know what, you guys are great. You're wonderful, beautiful people. And here, and it like shakes its mane for a second, and something ruptures out. You guys have the blessing of the unicorn. You have a +2 to your AC for the next hour. Even talk. Shit. For those of us watching at home, Tonk is an Eldritch Knight that now has a standard AC of 25 and 30 when he uses shield.
Okay.
You're gonna die by the end of this.
I can't even sink you in quicksand because you don't need to breathe.
I would like to thank Brofar for clipping the Blessing of the Rains.
I need that. And this unicorn gives a shake and is like, thank you. Sincerest thanks for helping out. Now, what are you guys here for?
We're looking for the trio of witches.
Okay, yeah. Over yonder, if you follow the like weird looking jack pine, just that way, they've got a little outcropping and a big square house.
Insight check.
Sure.
Tonk doesn't know what kind of pine did you say?
Jack pine.
Tonk doesn't know what a jack
21.
pine is.
So
Nothing like it's forthcoming. It seems sincere.
Okay.
Like
It's not like
Christmas tree.
whoa witches. Like, no, it's
I don't know. It's a unicorn in the middle of the forest. They're just like
and legitimately appears to have the physicality of a unicorn in all of its majesty. Every time it shakes its mane, and it's covered in muck, right? Like thoroughly sticky and uncomfortable. Little bits of glitter kind of shoot out from the hair, the mane and tail.
I sidle up next to it and put my hand out to try to catch some of the glitter and rub it on my rainbow swirled hat.
A lot of it is quicksand as well, but yeah, you're gritty. It's fine.
That's fine. I'm good.
Yeah, that's your blessing of the unicorn right there.
There you go.
I I still have a handful of sap and I'm just shakily handing it to the unicorn.
I am
You want
famished.
some?
Thank you. And it's takes it out of your hand,
Oh no.
and you see its eyes go.
Tonk feels like we're going to go find Candy Mountain now.
Charlie. Going to Candy Mountain, Charlie.
Great.
There's a magical Leoplerodon there.
To be honest, before she causes any more trouble to the surrounding wildlife, we should probably move.
I'd agree with that.
yeah. Let's just maybe no more sap. I think
Just for me?
sure. Let's
Okay,
think
sick.
through the
Lick off my
repercussions of this.
hand.
It's just
Just get rid of it.
sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
got you.
Okay.
Sure, no problem.
And the unicorn's like, all right. I feel great. Thank you. You are an amazing person. You're people, right?
Aye.
Wicked. I'm gonna go find a kid and murder him.
Should we
And he just takes off in a random direction.
maybe
Just let the poor beast go.
Knowing what you know of mystical creatures, he's probably not going to murder a child when he comes down from the millie sap.
Sure.
He talked about doing this. Put on your accent for a second. He talked about doing this before he had the sap.
There is that.
Okay, so
Are we good people?
Are we the villains here?
One of us is questionably good.
Yeah.
So, well, before it ran off in its sap-induced whatever the heck that was, it did say that they were this way, so I suppose that's as good a lead as anything.
Yeah. Sure.
let me know when we're getting close enough that we can see maybe a difference and stuff. Because I know.
Okay.
As I'm looking around, do I observe any smoke coming from possibly a chimney or a fire or anything?
Roll me a perception check.
Ooh, sweet. Where's my perception? That is going to be 23.
23. As you guys are again, everything is overgrown, and as you're slowly working your way through, the majority of it, Tonk doesn't care, because he's just and just the thorns are just dragging along his body. But for the rest of the fleshy bits, you're taking care not to get harmed and catch your gold-colored clothes on everything. And yeah, after a little ways working in the direction that the unicorn had suggested, You do indeed see a chimney and a smell that isn't terribly unpleasant. Just
Okay.
it smells like soup. Good soup.
Oh, good soup.
Excellent. Yeah, I think we're getting close. I can smell the soup and I can see the chimney smoke.
Something occurs to you as from fairy tales and things like that. Maybe from times that you were a girl a long time ago. Of what's probably in that soup that smells so good. And maybe you put it out of your mind, maybe you say, who knows, you know? It's probably not children.
Maybe the unicorn doesn't have a task.
You never know. Could be the dog dragon.
Are we
So-
going in just
So,
like that?
I feel like carefully scouting. What do you want to do?
here's the problem. Vostrak had said that we were not exactly at war with them. They didn't bother us, we did not bother them. So the question is, will they bother us? Or can we just knock on the door and say, hello, and see what happens? I don't know what it's like for your people and how you interact with such witches. I don't, but you're a witch.
Oh, thank you very much.
So, and I said that with adoration, of course. But so, could you not stand in front of us? Not to put you in harm's way, but knock on the door and say, hello, I'm a witch. What can I do?
I could give it a go.
And then if they attack you, we've got your back.
I could appear to be somebody else as well. I could disguise myself.
Okay.
Sure, you want me to just go knock on the door of the house with the three witches and just say I'm a witch
Well,
and
just
be like, let's be friends and...
He said we are not at war. So if
Okay.
you're not at war, then there shouldn't be a problem. He said they're a bit crazy, but crazy can be friendly.
I mean, just look at my garb.
There you go. You might, for all you know, they might have the exact same thing as you.
So we're saying that they have somebody being held hostage. What if somebody was at the front door, a couple of us go and check around the back, see if there's a cellar, or maybe they're trapped in the back, or something, like try and figure out, get a lay of the land while they're at the front door?
I could
So-
stay at the
Yeah.
front and try to distract them.
Okay, I can bathe this. I can cast Pass Without a Trace again.
Yeah.
That is perfect. See, perfect. This is why you was a god.
You see, you can
I
take
think
Sabo
you meant
and,
Yeah.
and ask if they have some kind of cure.
I tried.
Perfect. Yeah, and just think of it this way: the worst comes to worst, they invite you in.
I get
They might
invited in?
start to do something, but we'll be waiting behind. Tonk breaks through the wall, and we just follow through.
You need somebody to sweet talk them?
Tonk is curious why break through wall.
If we are behind, there might be not a door, so you might have to break through the wall.
Alright, so Zobo and I
So, yeah.
go to the door and attempt some subterfuge. Say, you're
I'll
crazy, 'cause
subterfuge
you
'em,
are
yeah.
crazy.
That's a little hurtful.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
But,
it's not that you're totally crazy, it's just the sap.
You know.
And then
She's on a crazy vibe, right? I would do your accent.
okay, every time you drop your accent, but no.
Oh no.
So as you guys
Sure.
approach the area, as I said on camera, the square place over there is you're looking down onto a bit of an open field, a grove. There's spatterings of small trees and large cap mushrooms around. That square area there is where that
Tonk's gonna just move you away from the mushroom. He doesn't fully understand what's happening here, but he knows something bad's about to happen. That wisdom's coming in handy right now.
it's a two-story house, kind of domed over. It's a thatched roof cottage that has not seen burninating in a while. And again, a big clay chimney out top where gorgeous smells are coming from. And yeah, the dark areas of the map are essentially just like swampy bits, like you'd sink to your knees. kind of thing.
Okay.
And
So
yeah,
you guys to the front door.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Us around the
cast
back
Pass
doors?
Without a Trace.
everybody gets a +10 to their stealth checks if I ask you to roll stealth.
Okay.
What do you? So that was the thing that you were planning to.
Yes. I want to make sure that the people that are creeping around back or around different spots are not easily seen.
So, as you guys, you're coming in from the side that Ginny's on, essentially coming from that far corner. As you round,
Yeah.
you see parked out in front, sitting around a big square table, just at the bottom of the steps there, are 3 individuals.
Oh.
Oh, on that side.
Yeah.
Have we already moved? Have the other
No,
ones-
on in front of the steps over on.
Oh, over
on
here.
my side here.
okay.
Sitting on the porch of their home.
Okay.
There is a rotund woman in a sickly emerald green gown, and she's got this gold fan just like snapping open and shut annoyingly, like those people.
Okay.
There's a thin, dark-skinned woman wearing this large antlered headdress that kind of like curls up. It looks like the antlers were forced into a shape that they would naturally grow in. And next to them is could only be described as a beautiful raven-haired woman. Like if you were walking around calling out people by what their charisma scores are, it would probably be a 20. Like one of those things. They're in a very, she looks confident because she's in a revealing royal blue dress, and she's holding this red lizard in her hand and feeding it tarts.
Okay.
Like pastry tarts?
Yeah.
No, sweet tarts.
Yeah, candy. And every now and again it like lulls its tail around her hand and like flexes its wings out.
Okay. So you guys are here. So there's 2 of you going, and the rest of us are kind of moving around.
Knowing that, feel free to place yourselves where you like.
Okay.
The
so
direction you were coming from and approaching was the far corner over there.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay. So 3 of us.
The corner we're calling sitting was the approach vector.
Are there any windows along the back here?
If you were getting around back there, roll a perception check.
Yeah, because I would have peeled off to go.
I'm gonna actually, before I give you that, I'm gonna ask everybody to roll stealth if you're like scouting the area around and casing the joint.
That's my 16 plus 7 will be my
Yeah,
perception.
that's fine.
So disadvantage, but
29.
pass without trace, right?
29.
22.
25.
11.
Even with pass without trace.
Modified
Tonk is not stealthy, especially in a swamp.
Would you be deafened
As a
in your
thought.
thuds by the water?
No, it's more like
Yeah, it would probably be worse, actually.
as he sucks his feet
Okay.
out.
Back into prison you go.
Is it the same one?
As,
Why are
as,
you using the same prison dice?
would you like another die?
Mistake.
Would you like another die?
I have a spare one.
I have a couple.
I think I'm owed a dice. Steven? we have one that is in jail. Bad dice jail.
Grandma Jenny,
Yes.
somebody in chat donated some money and wants you to have advantage on the next roll that you carry.
Jenny!
So, based on that, you guys are like trying to sneak your way into position, and you hear with your brilliant perception check 3 voices speaking out at once in concert that I don't have Clownfish running for. And they say like fingers out, and they all move their heads in unison to one side, looking to exactly where Tonk was. And they say, "Who's this? Who's this? Who's this? Not for TT. I don't think. Come. And you see all 3 of them. They have one too many knuckles on each of their fingers. Their fingers are a little bit longer, and they just
And that's just Tonk.
they're gesturing to Tonk.
Are the rest of us still hidden?
Most of you did pretty good, so I would say yes.
Okay, so Tonk didn't quite make it.
Yeah, Tonk didn't quite make it around the back
Okay.
of the
And are there
cottage.
windows I had asked about?
There are no windows
There
at
are
the
no
back.
windows at the back.
It's a
Okay.
like wide open front area that
So,
doesn't have a door.
If I was here past this wall, they wouldn't still be able to see me though, because they're kind of.
Yeah, they're all like kind of sitting around a small table outside having.
So I believe I'm going around the opposite side towards the front.
Yeah, we're going up front.
Yeah.
All right. Place yourselves where you think you would have gotten
Going
to
towards the
with your
front.
intentions.
Yeah, I'm
Going
going
towards
to
the
the back.
Back
Yeah.
as well. And Tonk, you would have been like where at this point?
And you all heard this
He
clearly.
probably was supposed to make it, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Because he has to be within slight visual.
Okay.
And you hear in your head, Tonk. What do you need? Your heart's desire, maybe?
Is there any kind of compelling force behind this, or is it just like a?
It's just a touch, just a question.
Well, they know I'm here, so Tonk's gonna go full Tonk. I'm literally
never
gonna
go full Tonk.
I'm just gonna like literally just come around, just no stealth,
Alright.
no thoughts, only happiness. And Tonk's gonna go. Tonk of the hills seeks Zender fame for princess.
As you come forward, there are only two of them sitting at the table. And if I'll get you to place these two.
Wait, I thought there were three.
There are.
I'm like hobbling up behind him. Like, I mean, I'm seeking a princess of my own. You know what I'm talking about?
Let's expand on that a little. Zobel comes forward. Tonk has made his claim. Tonk made Tonk's claim. And now Zobel's going to try and stake a claim.
So I'm just like, hey, ladies, me and my platonic friends here are just me and Tonk. You're totally platonic, nothing going on between us. I see that there's some beautiful young maidens here while I was lost in the woods. Can I come inside?
That is technically PG friendly.
That is technically, you are outside of their home.
Yep.
That is totally okay. So, the rotund lady
Nice.
gestures you to the now vacant seat that was filled before.
All right.
Please. And it's just one voice, it's hers. Sit. Soup?
You speak in my language, ma'am. I'm just like moseying on over. I go pop a squat next to this beautiful dame.
She's like, oh yeah.
Gwen looks a little dumbfounded at Zobo and Tonk, who have just like gone straight in. But I'm there, and so I just start to glide forward on my broom and just head up behind Tonk.
So
Place to be.
the rotund, the sickly emerald green looking woman there introduces herself as Frida. And
I like
says,
that name.
this is my
The
sister,
hammer is called
Penny.
Bonk.
Penny's the one in the gown. And Nettie is around.
I think like mom.
And she
That's what it's called.
slides forward a wooden bowl from like, they're sitting tapas style, and like scoops you out something. It is thick. It is thick. It looks like if you
Like
mixed
2 C's thick?
oysters and oatmeal and beer together, and then put it in a bowl in front of you. It's called a double-double. It's an actual thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm like
Oyster soaked oatmeal.
holding it, and I'm like, I like my soup like I like my women.
Chewy.
That's your one for the hour.
I love it. Hey guys.
Yeah.
Lambo says hello.
From the great beyond.
From the great beyond, he's getting fish
The
snacks
great
somewhere.
D&D Beyond.
Some Dan Avenue. So, no, she's schmoozing. Tonk, the overwhelmingly pretty lady.
Pretty lady.
She just kind of like titters for a second in traditional like 80s poor writing.
Okay.
And approaches, and you see this. It's a pseudo dragon for you guys, but this lizardy thing that Tonk doesn't know what the fuck. It just kind of like drapes itself around her, and she says, "So, you mentioned Zenderfing.
Yes.
Why? Why would you think that Zenderfing's here? Who's Zenderfing?"
Tonk don't know. Tonk was sent on quest to retrieve
Oh.
Zenderfane.
You're on a quest to save a person. I see.
Tonk can't make those faces.
I like to think that Tonk tries, and he's just like,
You got an upgrade and now your chin moves.
we gotta get you like a 1980s alarm clock face that's just like, it's 6s, and now it's 4s.
Tonk, seek Zenderfane. Help.
Well, maybe we can help you. And she like touches your chest a little bit, just like in a friendly sort of like way.
Sobo's jealous.
I don't know about the rest of you. Apparently, things are happening over here. It's like, well, what do you need help with? Maybe I can help. Maybe we can make this a thing. What do you need? What are you willing to pay for it? What is immediately like from a physical physical possession standpoint? What is Tonk's like dream? Like
What
his desire?
I
Like, do you want a big shiny sword that like shoots laser beams or something? Like, what would Tonk's idea of, like, if I could have the thing?
Tonk would want a bigger shield to protect more people.
Cool, I like it.
Expanding shield.
Like Tonk would want to upgrade because like I've always assumed from what we described that it's more of like a just a like a targ almost.
Yeah. And you want like a kite shield.
Yeah, like a
Or like a tower shield.
yeah, like more like a tower shield, but
I
that
like
I can
it.
still move and swing
I like
and
it.
everything.
She's like, I can help. I know what you need. You just have to ask.
So, Gwen's watching all this.
You have not seen anybody fiddly magic bits in any way, shape, or form. I just used fiddly magic bits in it. They are schmoozing, and nobody cast any kind of compulsionary charm shenanigans. They're just doing it.
But I'm looking at 3 sisters in a swamp, and I'd like
Two.
No, but we heard about a third.
You saw a third when
Yeah,
you approached.
we heard about a third. We saw the third. I'd like to know if Gwen has any idea about, who these people may be and their capabilities. Haven't heard them described as witches. I'm wondering if I could maybe make an Arcana check. I don't want to assume too much.
Can Tonk help with that while having this conversation? Is that a thing that?
Not helping her, but you could make your own.
Okay, I'm gonna make my own Arcana check then as well.
Can I like get my balloons out and make like a little bouquet?
Yes.
Oh, buddy!
Another one.
Would you like to?
Yeah, you know what? We're gonna.
Yeah.
That's a 10, or no, that's a 13.
13.
22.
Cool. You see, looking back into the house, because again, there's no door. Yeah. You see components hanging, drying, little bits of like herbalism stuff hanging, curing meats at the back. Something that was probably a cat once.
Okay.
Just like sitting on a shelf like this.
Oh, okay. Not
Like-
skin.
No,
Oh.
well, it's technically a skeleton.
But it
but yeah.
it died having a good life.
Probably, yes. We're gonna say that the cat died having a good life.
Dang right we are.
I'm going to back
now.
myself away slowly as they're doing their thing. I'm just going to slowly, move 5, 10, 15, 20 feet away. And then I'm going to send a message to Renlin.
Yes.
And I'm going to say, in common, there's only 2 of them out here.
There's only 2 of them about.
I don't know where the third is.
Oh, they're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
But Sobo and Tonk are distracting them for a moment.
Okay,
Todd's
I hear the
making friends.
message. When I was moving around at all, did I see any windows? None at all in this whole dang thing.
It's basically a semicircular structure with a massive opening
So
in
it's
the
kind
front.
of like a yurt?
Yeah. Yeah,
Windowless yurt?
essentially it's a big thatched roof yurt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you move me?
There's no
back
glass,
up
there's
20
not even a door in the front.
Oh, okay.
Just like a set of steps that go down. Think like those houses on the bayou,
Yeah.
where it's like it comes up out of the water and it's kind of on stilts a little bit.
Okay, what are those little dark spots? Are they dips or raises?
They're dips.
They're
They're
dips.
like swampy bits to represent if you step into them, you
Okay.
sink like past your knees.
Oh,
Difficult
feet.
terrain.
I'm above them. You're
How
fine.
tall is this yurt?
2 stories.
Oh,
Seems to be an upstairs to
right,
it as
right,
well.
right. Okay, well... Dang it. Okay, so I've now heard that there are only 2 of the 3 that there originally were. I'm in the back. They don't know us 3 are here. Do I respond to her message? Or can
You
I?
can. Yeah. You
Okay.
can respond to this message.
To respond to this message,
Press 1. I'm going to say, it's 25 words, right?
That's sending,
That's
but yeah.
sending.
Oh, okay.
It's just a
Short-
short
a short,
message,
like-
no
yeah.
specific word limit.
Okay. I'm going to say, okay. What? Okay. Do I come round or do I stay here?
Are you speaking this out loud
Yes.
or in your head?
Do you come around or stay here? And behind you, you see this bark-skinned creature kind of like drape an arm over you.
Ah!
And you can put this mini there, but just show Tyler. This is the thing that wraps itself around you, and you notice that the antlers are like, it's the third sister, and she's just morphed into this monstrous sort of form.
Like
and
a tree?
like tree bark and antler and bone, and drapes herself across you a little bit. What are we doing back here? You didn't notice, and you have a massively high perception.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to...
Like
so
she
she's,
passed without a
so
trace.
she's put it on and she said something?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn and say, you are quite a creature. And I say creature with the most respect. Sorry, the language
It
barrier.
is truly the most gender neutral of terms. I'm here for it. And
Yes.
she like raises a barky hand.
To be honest with you, I was not sure of your disposition towards strangers, so we did not want to bombard your party with multiple people at once. So we came around back, we're kind of hanging out, we're trying to be the cool kids in the back waiting to be invited.
That is reasonable. Why don't we go around front?
Is that...
And you feel a like, and you turn and look, and she's not there anymore.
Okay, Doc.
And like, kind of like went back, as though it retracted into the small of Renlin's back. Just like she was there on top of him, and like, hey, how's it going? And then like,
Did I feel something going
No.
into my body?
you felt nothing going into your body, and that is now the saddest part.
Okay.
No, she
so-
just like
Okay.
vanished away.
Check his back.
Yeah, no, he's. She just disappeared.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of look at the other 2 and go, oh, well, I guess we move forward. So much for the sneaky approach.
Yeah, I think we go forward.
Okay.
I think so.
think
This
that's
one's
it.
out of there for now.
Yeah.
I guess I will kind of not follow her.
She appears out of the chair that Zobo is sitting in. The chair itself shifts a little bit, and like what was an arm that you were leaning against is now an arm, and you're sitting on half chair and half her. She comes out like first Hokage style, wood style, like she's part of the chair. And yeah,
Whoa, I see we've got
she's
it.
like, I was not expecting a lap dance today.
I do like a little jiggle, and then I stand up and I'm like,
A little
sorry. So I like try to lean over into like Frida. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'll just like hang out over here. It's all good. You know, take your seat.
Can I point out that we're over 2,000?
Oh, amazing! Yeah! 2,000 on us! Which means, and we're stacking these reasonably fast. You guys get a long rest token
Oh,
that goes
nice.
along with the things that you're doing. That I have here somewhere. There it is.
These folks.
Use them when you need them. What's up?
There's my second.
Just chat comments.
Yeah,
That's fair.
that was
All good.
10 out of 10.
I'm looking forward to seeing the VOD for this later.
Yeah.
This is your long rest token.
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
Someone just said, JohnMan69 just said, what are you doing, step witch?
This, you're on the wrong kind of corn stream here, my friend. Wrong kind of corn.
We don't have the accoutrements to make this a thirst trap stream,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Can't we though? You know,
We know
I have a Liam O'Brien Christmas sweater that I didn't want to wear, but if we get, if we hit $2,500, I'll put on a Liam O'Brien sweater
sexy.
for this.
Nice.
I will eat the heat for all of this. Yeah, you sit down, and Frida's here for it. She's like, you are the most interesting part of our day. Most interesting indeed. Now, what is it you need? You two. You've been quiet.
Grandma Ginny's gonna be like, is that nutmeg that you have in your home? And she's gonna run up the steps.
They don't move, and it is indeed. There's a lot of stuff in that house if you want to move the mini up into there.
I'm right with it.
Yeah,
I just like no answer. Like, it's not mine.
just the most random.
Don't talk to me.
And the one titters to the other, and it's like children.
I can't
And
Tonk is
I'm
3.
Tonk is 3.
Aw. Does Tonk have like Ninja Turtle hands? And he's like, Tonk is 3.
So, I'd be like pawing through all the stuff that they have hanging, but meanwhile I'm looking around like, do we see the Zendaphane?
Make a
Anywhere?
perception check. And remember, you have advantage from the donation.
Yes.
If you want to use it.
Oh, well, we'll just try for. Okay. Perception. That's going to be 23.
You take a quick glance around because this is a con. Like, you're like, oh, is there spices?
Yeah.
You're casing the joint.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real here. You look around, there's no other person here. There's no cellar. There's a small, like 45-degree angle ladder in the corner that goes up to a loft area. That's would make sense as a sleeping arrangement sort of thing for the ladies.
Stove, oven,
Big stove.
closed.
Closed, burning, like a massive wood stove, like the size of this white thing here. So you could have several pots and pans on top, and even, should you need to, fit a small human being inside.
Like a unicorn, a child of unicorns looking for.
You find that there's a small medallion like hanging from one of the hooks in the corner.
Oh no.
It's got a weird like never-ending story sort of vibe to it. I mean, no, I mean what I said.
Vista, do you think we should try and go up the ladder?
They are not paying you any mind. They looked, they saw what you're doing, and then they went back to conversing.
I'm like
Okay.
feeding Frida some soup.
And she is here for it. She's like, so what do you need? What do you
Okay, so
what
I'm
do you
gonna lean on
desire?
the
What are you
door
looking for?
and
Not
keep
gonna
an
lie,
eye on them.
I've been through a
pretty
messy
quick.
couple years and like
Now
there's
what,
tear
you
stains.
climb up?
The clown
Still,
makeup
yeah,
is just like,
it's
oh, I had the makeup gun set to hold on.
Rainbow's not here.
And I'm like, I just need some company.
I see. Well, that's something reasonably simple to accommodate. What are you willing to pay for it?
With my body.
Oh.
I have never heard a better deal in my life. That is it. That is, if that is your desire,
Oh no.
you can absolutely stay here with your body.
Stay here? Well, can I like, I thought that this would sort of be like I came here with some friends. I was hoping to,
Oh, I mean, there's not much space. We wouldn't have any privacy. That might be a problem. Maybe it wouldn't be a problem.
it's not a problem if
I'm not as conflicted about this as I originally thought. and as this lady, just like, she is sweaty, and just like, the gown is filthy, and she's just like, the whole front is covered in soup, and she's just like, you're feeding her soup. As that's happening, Tonk, as Penny talks to you, what are you trying to accomplish here? You want this person. What are you willing to pay for this person?
Tonk like rifles around in his coin bag and just pulls out a clump of random coins.
Oh, honey. And she like takes your hand and closes them back up and like gestures them back. It's like, that's not what I meant.
Tonk turns to
Would you like to make a deal?
You still turning to me?
yeah, turn.
And
Let's be frank, friends. You want something. You're willing to pay for it. Why do you want Zenderfin?
The princess wants Zenderfang.
You see, Zenderfin is valuable to us. And
well, as she says, I can pipe up. I thought you said that you do not know who this person is.
oh no, I was being coy.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
All cards on the table. Zenderfin is a valuable individual to our daily needs. We would not part with them off freely.
Oh.
So we can either come to an arrangement, or we don't come to an arrangement, and we kindly ask you to leave. Except you. You can stay. You're fine.
I'm so I'm gonna kind
to go
of
around.
Yeah.
as a peacekeeper, and trying to do my thing. I'm gonna kind of step forward one little step and be like, okay, so then if you're talking about a trade, we do not know what you want. What do you want from us?
Well, your beating hearts in jars would be a really good start.
Okay, hold on 1 second here. What do you want from us that lets us live alive?
Well, you could still be alive.
Okay, what lets us leave from here but still be breathing?
You could still be breathing.
Okay, sorry. What can we
I'm being very accommodating
Oh,
here.
no, hold on. Let me say. You are being very accommodating. To be honest with you, we were a little scared it was going to be a bit more of an intense, confrontation.
Well, it's tea time.
Well, and you know what? I do love a good cup of tea. Unfortunately, I've already drank, so I don't need any tea. So I appreciate the offer you're about to make me.
It's almost like third cup in.
I'm not from here. I don't quite understand your customs. What can we do for you that does not involve in any way removing parts of our body?
Well, not body parts.
Or parts of the mind, preferably.
Oh, okay. What about sacrificing innate magical abilities? That's always delicious. Your magical essence, perhaps.
The entire essence.
Your ability to cast third-level spell slots.
I will be honest with you. No. Plus, I don't know if you could wield my magic. It is not from this land.
Ha! And the chair laughs at you.
Okay. I know you think this is funny, but I'm almost certain that my magic is not native to your being?
The two sisters, kind of like the rotund one and the really pretty one, kind of like shimmer their faces for a second.
Mm-hmm.
They're fae,
Oh.
like all out fae, and that like ageless sort of shimmer where it's like the eyes are blue and then they're gray and then they're green and then
Yep.
they're purple and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
like and puts it back to a more mundane look.
Yep.
Our sister over there, and they gesture to the chair. Still but different. The same, but different.
Why are you in this world?
Plenty to eat.
Can you freely go home?
We have the ability. Yeah, you can wait for a solstice, and as the seasons change, and find a weak barrier between the worlds. Just north of here, where there's a really stupid unicorn, there's a nice grove that, at the equinox, the barrier is very thin. You can pass through.
This is very good information. You have saved me probably years.
Potentially, yeah.
And I've been kind of lulled into a bit of like, 'cause my whole point is getting back to the Feywild.
Yep.
And I've kind of been lulled into
Almost
this
like they
state.
granted your heart's desire.
Yeah.
So,
Can I roll to see how resistant I am 100% to this?
they're not influencing you.
Not that, like internally.
Yeah, sure. Roll a d20. You tell me how Renlin feels about all of this. Like, and if that was insight, like she was being coy before. She's not being coy now. She's like, yeah, no, that's a thing. That's how we operate.
Yeah.
You are Fae. They are Fae. They make deals. You got to be really careful when you accept gifts from them. And anytime they offer you something, when you take it,
So
you're going to pay a price.
I would know all this.
Third bowl of soup in, and a couple of teacups, and so it was just
Bringing
like
it down.
half a mess of tart.
So, okay. You've given me free information, which is, I'll be honest.
Well, a conversation. Nothing more than a conversation.
I'm just saying that I'm not giving you something for what you just gave me.
Of course, just a conversation. That's all it was.
Okay. So, very thankful for that, and I will never forget this. If I see you again, I will make sure that you are in good graces.
Excellent.
But, and I'm kind of still hung up on this whole thing of them just like, good thing. I was like, do you know? Let me be honest. If I need to get to this grove, I don't care if I stay there for years. I just need to find my way. But I cannot do that until I finish the quest I'm currently on.
It exists. The portals between worlds are a
Yes.
natural occurrence.
Yes.
You are free to wander the swamp as much as you like. Don't get caught in quicksand.
It's not that I am free, and I want to get there as quickly as possible. But I have given myself to this kingdom.
You're
and the
about
king.
8 months out from the next ccelestial movement that would
Okay.
allow that for this part of the world.
Okay. So I've got some time.
You got some time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she tells me, you've got time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, based on what she said, you're like, I map the stars every night. I know when this happens, and you do quick.
But I just don't know where the actual space is. But
Yeah.
you give me that space now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now that I know that, then, and I'm not too worried about that, about timing, I'm just like, okay, so that's great. You have brought my heart quite at ease. About the other person we're looking for, I still don't want to give you my heart. Or my spouse.
Roll a persuasion check.
Okie doke. Someone in chat said to stop rolling in this. My dice are battered, so. Persuasion?
Yeah.
That would be a dirty 20.
All right. So this conversation is happening, and so right now you're speaking with the more rotund lady, and as this is happening, Zabo's not getting any love here, and Zabo, because chat.
Because chat.
Something flies in from the corner, and you're starting to come down.
Oh no.
A little bit.
Oh no.
And a toucan lands on your shoulder and points at your shoes and turns to you and says, "Follow your toes!" The soup is rainbows at this point. and it just fucking like beelines it out of your vision. Nobody else saw this. Chat loves you. Chat just donated $200 for a toucan salmon. Alright.
I like take off my shoes as quickly as possible and I put them up on the table and I'm just sitting there staring at them going, oh, oh, oh.
Also, because we had a large donation. So yeah, that's a thing. Sabo's having a great day or a bad day. Your persuasion check is very effective.
Okay.
And she says, I will level with you. I am inclined to give aid to one of our people. Everything for a price, of course.
Yes.
This is how the world works. This is how we do.
Satisfying?
You can have Zenderfane. Temporarily. If you leave one of your own here.
I gotta look sort of you. I'd be like,
We leave them temporarily?
Temporarily.
you get a little bit of company.
A one for one.
I got sisters. Ooh, baby.
The one made of bark and pain, like wraps tendrils around like one of your shoulders in a suggestive way, and it's like, look, I can be a sawhorse, I can be a chair with a hole cut in it. What do you need?
And I pull out my balloons and I'm like, what do you need?
So, two of the sisters clap their hands and they're like, I think we're done here. We're done here.
I'm gonna look at you and say, members of Brad statue?
We have, based on a donation, a cloak of protection, a cloak of the manta ray, and a decanter of endless water. Please take your uncommon magic item from the list.
I already got a cloak, so one of y'all.
So, decanter of endless water. I mean, it's
ton
going
of
to give
water.
you a ton of water, a few different abilities.
Water!
Yep. Manta ray allows you to swim very, very quickly, and a cloak of protection
Is a
will-
cloak of protection.
It gives you a bump to your AC and your saving throws.
I already have cloak of protection, so.
Okay. I would use the cloak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Cool. Here you go.
If that's okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
There you go. Thank you, not John Man 69.
Living your step
That
witch
was only
dream.
10.
I'm going to fly over to Renlin,
Yes.
and quietly into your ear in Sylvan.
Yes.
I'm going to say, are we really just going to leave Sobo here? That's a good deal.
Can I ask the ladies something?
Well, yes.
So, you beautiful ladies, you said that you might have Zenderfane nearby. Would we be able to just talk with them and
Once we've come to an agreement, absolutely.
can't just I mean you've seen me.
Zenderfane's indisposed at the moment. She's not necessarily able to speak right now. It'll take her a little while to come down from the sap, so to speak.
Oh, okay, I got you.
It's just gonna come down and just like look at you and say, do you want to stay?
Seems like a pretty sweet deal.
It does. I mean, I don't have to pay for this, right? You know,
They're like, oh, honey, you are the payment. And really, it's a loan. All we're doing is exchanging. I mean, you keep us company, while your friends run with Zenderfane.
So,
Apologies, friends. They
Clown.
will, they will be whole when the trade is.
That's entirely up to you.
I might be a husk of a clown
There might
when I
be
get back.
something left.
But might be a pep in my step.
Tonk understands none of this.
Tonka's still just standing in
Yes.
front of the really, really,
I've-
really
I've
pretty
cramped.
lady, and it's
you
like,
move to me.
womp womp.
Okay, as she's in my ear or talking to me, I kind of look at her and I go,
what if we don't ever bring back this person?
Right?
And I kind of looked at the people and I go,
What if we need him for, say, 10, 20 years?
Well, I mean, time is a fanciful construct made by people that don't understand it.
Yes, for sure.
So, what's 20 years?
Okay, as long as you're sure.
I mean, for me, 20 years was my first marriage.
Dwarves live in
So-
300-400 years at a time.
Yeah.
It was a short marriage.
Yeah. Kind of a bitch.
so
My God, there's a bad
Now,
lack
as a
of a woman.
question, while this person is under our care, what if they die?
The person? Well, I mean, if they die, you can't bring them back.
But they are still alive.
Yeah.
Okay, so they just have to stay with you.
Yeah.
I don't quite like that deal. That's unless you are cool with that.
I'm not complaining. I mean,
Okay,
so
so that's
far,
fine.
so good.
If you do not mind being
Consent
here
is
for,
key. Consent is
if
sexy.
you are consenting to be here for the rest of your potential life,
Or longer.
or longer, with 3 sisters,
Three sisters, I mean.
and you are fine with this, then I'm fine. If you are not fine with this, then we'll have to find another method.
I mean,
If you do not want to stay, I will not leave you behind.
you guys gotta promise me you'll be back here before these beautiful ladies drive me crazy.
The problem is there's no guarantee of this.
Oh, no, it's fine. Absolutely, we'll come back. So
No, I'm sorry, I can't-
100%.
My personality
What do
is
you
like the upper protectorate healer. is looking at you going, that is not good
Bazoba
enough. The
zaboba.
problem is
You know
if
what
we
I'm saying?
cannot if we cannot come back and give them back the person, let's say the princess wants to continue peace with the person.
In the interest of 17 minutes left for the
Yes.
stream, there is always a possibility of come back and straight up murder hobo to take back your life.
Okay. But look, if you're okay with being here, then that's fine.
I think I'm gonna be very happy here.
Okay.
I think you are too.
You're going to do so well. By the time we get back, you're going to have forgotten about the whole balloon animal brass bust of your first. You don't have to do it. Anything you don't want to. Oh goodness, I've made him cry.
Before we leave them, as soon as this goes, before we leave them, I'm going to. Come on. I'm going to. Oh, never mind. That's got a time limit on it. Never mind.
All right. So, Frida takes you by the hand and walks you into the hut, and it's like, let me show you around, and just like walks you away from the tea table, and Penny steps back from Tonk and says, "Let's go find your friend."
Tonk's excited.
And she leads you back to like this area over here to the far corner.
Pretty lady.
And you see her move her hand for a second, and she just kind of like pushes to the side, and you see the swamp move. And there's steps, stone carved steps that go down into a hole in the ground. And as you go in there, you step down, step down, step down. There's a large cavern, probably at least 100 feet. Like, she takes you down quite a ways. And sitting in a chair, a wooden chair, not unlike the ones that were right beside you, is a tall, thin woman. With, like, she is muscular, but looks like she hasn't had activity in a while. With a whitish yellow horn sticking out of the front of her forehead that comes out about to here. Think summoners from Final Fantasy kind of deal. And around her neck is a wet-looking bag on a string made of hair. And around each of her wrists and ankles are more bags. And she says, "This is Zendrafane. part of our agreement is that if you take her, these bags stay on her until you're out of our swamp.
Tonk understands.
When you are out of the swamp and you have her home, you can take the bags off.
Tonk will over the shoulder.
She's hefty. Like, there's probably pushing 200 pounds. Like, she is a stock lady. And start working your way up the steps again. And roll a perception check, Tonk.
What?
That's a 13.
Is that a 1?
It's a 7.
Oh.
As you crest this entryway.
Wait, no.
Okay. That's also a 7. It's not a thing. As you crest the entryway, unbeknownst to Tonk, because, rolls, you start seeing flowers wilting and then sprouting in a new color around the area where the hole is. You are, like, looking forward, and the sickly bark is starting to kind of like shed a little bit, and new growth is starting to appear as you like walk with this individual. And you approach back to the house. And Gwen, you're taking this in. Zabo's like, I found some wives. And all three of the sisters are like fawning over your clown friend. Like, this is going to be the most interesting sort of transaction that we've ever had. And you're a dwarf, right? And they're like us. You live a while.
I do live a while.
Stamina, hardy, good. I like it. Excellent. And they're like feeling the meat on you. Like, they're like, oh yes, yeah, you're quite supple. Like that's excellent. And
when Jimmy pulls out a stack of cookies, you're gonna need these.
between two of them is more of that Millie said.
And one.
Granny makes edibles. Renlin, you get just a little twinge of inspiration. This happens to you from time to time, like a divine, like, oh hey, I think we managed to do something without doing it Lambo style.
Which is my, as a peacekeeper, my preference.
Like, you're like, this is good. Everything is aligned. This is, yeah.
Yes.
You have not violated any treaties.
No.
You have not put anybody at risk.
No.
Well,
In your eyes, there was a transaction made that is
Fully
amicable
consensual.
and applicable to how Fae work. And the three hags that you guys were just dealing with, because two are Fae and one is not, are in agreement. And you see Tonk coming back with a large woman over his shoulder. She is unconscious and like kind of stirs and makes noise a little bit, and she's got bags tied at her ankles and wrists. And
Do I know what those would be?
That's what I'm.
it's gonna be a reasonably high Arcana check.
Okay.
Am I able to get in on that?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm willing to try that.
See how much you know about witch bags.
14.
19.
You have an understanding that sometimes you can put magic into an object. And it's like, if you were gonna curse somebody, voodoo dolls are a thing, and like curse bags are a thing. And there's something magical about them, and it probably has something to do with keeping this person unconscious and comatose. So,
just clarification, do they need the bags back when we bring her back?
Tonk didn't ask.
Okay.
and Nettie gets up from being a chair, and you see the bark sort of start rescinding back into the small of her back. Like, it looks like bark skin, but is actual bark skin. and the antlers start to like slowly fold back into a twisted kind of headdress. She says, "Okay, bye." Yeah. Thanks, chat.
Oh, was that a chat thing?
Yeah.
I am going to pick up, if I can find just something small, like a rock or something around. I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to tap it with my tinker's tools. And I'm going to say, "You don't have to do anything you don't want to." And I'm going to hand it to Zabo. Just listen to the stone and remember. As I use my magical tinkering.
Okay.
Like sniff the stone a couple times and I'm like, ow. Got one word for y'all before you leave me here with my lovely wives. I was known as a jester in my past life, and I feel like I should bring that out again. So, what's blue and smells like red paint? Blue paint. And I sniff the stone again, and I punch over.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Tonk is not sure, but Tonk pretty sure that more than one word.
Well,
So
Wow.
you stay with your affectionate companions, and your previous companions make off with this beefy woman over your shoulder. And Tonk, I imagine, fills you in on the premise of what was discussed for those staying a little ways away. Not to take the bags off until you got home, basically.
Tonk think they were nice ladies.
This is not necessarily how things were going to go, but it works. I had minis and combat.
oh
We seduced them instead.
Sometimes the bard just does bard things, and it's like I rolled to seduce.
I mean, we still got 7 hours. We might be back.
Some time passes, and in the nights that you spend exiting this place and getting back home, she's just comatose, essentially, and just like in a deep sleep, dreaming. And
Before,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, because I'm assuming we're about to cut the bags off.
Yeah.
Before we do that, can I do a thing? It's gonna be. I didn't prepare that spell.
It's okay. It's been a day or two since you left the
Okay.
swamp, so what are you casting?
Before we do that, can I just like hold person on her so when we cut them off, she doesn't go like berserk on us?
Sure.
Okay.
You lay the spell into this unconscious individual. They don't resist.
Yes.
They are already paralyzed.
Yes.
So it's a thing. There's no resistance at this point.
Yes.
And as you're probably less than a day's ride away from the hills, because you have tactical minds, and you start snipping the hair from around this person, and the bags fall to the ground and are wet, and they've been perpetually wet the entire time.
Gross.
And they go roll out, and what's inside looks like what you pull out of a drain. And yeah, and you make that sound. They make that sound when they hit the ground. And as the individual just kind of like shudders for a second and opens an eye, the eye is bright yellow, the same color as the horn. And she looks around. She says, "Who are you?"
Whoa.
And she looks and she sees like weapons armor, and feels the magical bonds from Renlin, uses legendary resistance, and says,
Okay.
not going to be a thing. And her form starts expanding into this.
Oh, shut up.
No
I am Zender.
I look at Tonk and I go, Tonk!
Lady!
I am Zender Fane the Blue.
Man.
Name yourselves. And tell me more.
Tonk! Not name Tonk self.
Mentions the princess.
My name is Vistra. We were sent to retrieve you from your prison. We need your help. We freed you. Will you come with us?
Takes a long look around. Like this thing, comparatively so.
Yep.
This is where Tonk lives.
I'm like a dwarf. It's like extra high. It's like hello.
And looks around and says,
Nope. I shouldn't have touched it.
tell me more as the curtain falls.
Joke.
And we end our session.
All right.
Tyler, you had some announcements.
Yeah, I'll do the sponsor announcements when we come back from break, but I do want to let everybody know that we are giving away a legendary bundle from D&D Beyond, as well as 3 adventurer bundles, which includes all 25 books, which has a value of $500 each, while the legendary bundle has everything available on D&D Beyond, and it averages retail about 1,000 Canadian. So stick around and donate for a chance to win a ton of real cool gear. So, yeah.
And thank you everybody for your generous donations. It's been making things a whole lot of fun up to this point.
We're up to 2260.
We are up to 2260. Our next milestone is set to 2500, where we'll pull an item from the legendary item deck at $2,500.
That's amazing.
Including the deck of many things. Which I have for you right here, that we can actually pull some deck of many things cards from. And then I'll grab the DMG for actually looking up what it does. That's the thing. But yeah, thank you for joining us. We're gonna take a quick break and do all of the things that humans need to do occasionally. And thank you for joining, and we'll see you in a half an hour.